Hi, welcome to my review of The Mummy, directed by Sommers from 1999. So yes, we are back once again, ready to discuss this time around, once again, The Mummy on the channel. It's been many years since I, kind of talked about this film, and yeah, I wanted to, after recently seeing it again, kind of give this one another discussion and give it more of a full-on review. And I have got different opinions on it a bit, this time around, more of a realization, and in the sense of, even more of a positive reaction to this film, and I love it even more now, and so I thought I'd give it another review, talk about my opinions on the film, and yeah, with an increased rating from last time round, and yeah. First of all, there will be a spoiler warning for this discussion. If you haven't seen this film, I simply recommend seeing it first, and then come back to this video, and we can go from there. We can talk about this film in the comments, and yeah, celebrate cinema, of course. So yeah, with all that said, let's discuss my thoughts on this film, and yeah. This is a very special film to me. It's a film I saw so many times as a kid growing up, and I saw it from such a young age. It's one of those films I was around 5 or 6, kind of watching on VHS quite a lot, and yeah, just watching this on loop really at times, and different sequences, but the film entirely, and it was something that just, as a kid, it was so magical to see this, such an adventurous film, and one that has really a bit of everything in it, and you've got romance, you've got action, horror as well, and some really graphic moments in this film, and it's got this kind of sense of comedy and charm to it, and yeah, slapstick moments, physical comedy, and just consistently the kind of charm to it, the kind of the comedy enhances the effect throughout the film. It doesn't take away from the horror, and you've got mystery, sense of wonder that I've not really seen in much modern films like this, and I just think the way it kind of blends these genres, and the way it kind of just flows, the narrative, and the tone, the way it's controlled, and just all the performances, including of course Brendan Fraser. This film truly to me is an absolutely stunning one, and I think just those memories, as I say, of growing up watching this, and then a little bit later than when I first saw The Mummy. I was around 7 or 8 when I first saw The Mummy Returns, and that's a film as well I absolutely loved. And there were some aspects as a kid that I did actually prefer in The Mummy Returns, and yeah, I watched them both obviously quite a bit, but The Mummy was the one that I kind of gravitated towards a bit more as a kid, and just watched it so much. I won't say which I prefer now. We'll wait for the review of The Mummy Returns for that. But yeah, regardless of that, the way this film opens up is truly magical, and we have the kind of prologue here, set in 1290 BC, ancient Egypt, and we have this kind of wonderful set of shots here, and just showing the city, and the effects to this film is something else. Mixture of practical and CGI effects, and I just think it's absolutely stunning in both regards here. Some of the best CGI I've ever seen, actually, and a real sense of practicality though as well. It's a real kind of good classic kind of mix, and I think the way the practical effects are done in this is something else. The production across the board, and yeah, the way the film opens up, we see obviously Imhotep, and he's the main villain of the film, and we see the way in which him and obviously Anaxunamun kind of having this romance going on, as we know, and he aims to resurrect her eventually, and obviously we see the way though that he's kind of mummified, and all his kind of men are as well, and it's really gross the way his men are kind of kind of punished there, and he's obviously mummified in a really brutal way, and we have the scarabs obviously, and just seeing that as a kid especially, it was so gross and so scary to me, and the way they're kind of just poured in, and then the thing is closed there, and it's so effective, and I think the horror in this film is really quite full on actually, and it's one of the most kind of disturbing films, despite being kind of a real upbeat, jolly adventure romp, and it's got some real graphic moments in this, and really disturbing moments that are kind of just implied as well, and I just think it really is something else the way that the horror is done in this. But that is such a way to open the film up, and then we kind of cut ahead where we have obviously Rick O'Connell, and we have Benny as well, played by Kevin J. O'Connor in this film. But yeah, we have Rick O'Connell. The introduction to him is just so epic, and just seeing the way kind of when all the men charge there with the horses, the way they all kind of run off, and kind of retreat in that sense, and I think Brendan Fraser in this film, the introduction to him and the way he kind of plays this, and straight away kind of is showing the comedy that he has to this, and the kind of silly nature of his character, but also how you can take it seriously as well, and I think Brendan Fraser in this film is so great. I think the portrayal across both films, this and The Mummy Returns, I haven't seen the third film, but these films, his kind of performances here, I think are just so legendary to me, and I think it's one of the most kind of underrated or underappreciated kind of performances, really, characters, in modern cinema, and I just think he plays it so perfectly, and just instantly kind of rooting for this character. You know, the confidence, the likability, and just the charm that he has, and Benny as well. You know, Kevin J. O'Connor. You know, the way in which straight away this relationship, this dynamic here between the two characters. They've obviously known each other for a while, but it's kind of set up straight away. The kind of the friction and the betrayal, you know, of Benny kind of shutting the door there, and obviously Brendan Fraser is left there to be captured, and it does lead to his imprisonment, as we know, and cut ahead 3 years later, and that's the main bulk of the film, where we have obviously Rick meeting Evelyn and Jonathan as well at some point in the film, and then they go on this adventure to Hamunaptra, and obviously Evelyn tries to find the Golden Book of Amun-Ra, and you know, she wants to find the city for this, and obviously she's an aspiring Egyptologist, and you know, obviously the brother Jonathan, you know, the older brother played by John Hannah, the great John Hannah, you know, is just so great in this film. The kind of more of a comedic character, and you know, he kind of gives her the map and the kind of key here that he's stolen from Rick. So it's all kind of tied together so well, and obviously Rachel Weisz, you know, in this film playing Evelyn, and you know, she when we start off at the library with her, you know, that is just so funny. I love the way all the kind of books just fall like you know, dominoes, of course, there, and just it's so funny, and it sets up various different characters here so well, and yeah, just Gad Hassan as well, you know, in this film, and you know, I think he's a really funny character, and the way in which it all kind of ties together here, even in the first act, and then the rest of it is just this non-stop kind of adventure, you know, romance, obviously, action, horror, you know, kind of comedy, and the set pieces are just strung together like something I've never really seen too much in a modern film, and you know, I think this film is so inspiring, and you know, it's so kind of you know, it's something that it's done, you know, so many different things here, and you know, just you know, the kind of quipping as well in a certain way, and obviously it is kind of influenced by Indiana Jones, you know, the trilogy, obviously, and the tone even at times with the comedy and the action and all this kind of stuff, and the fantastical nature of it. But I think, you know, it's definitely a very, very unique film, one of the most unique films, despite being something that's very obviously taking things from other, you know, past blockbusters. This is something that a lot of films, you know, after obviously as well taken from this one, and you know, this is just so unique in the way it's done, and you know, I think just, yeah, the way in which we kind of have these characters meet, you know, the kind of an instant chemistry between you know, Rick and Evelyn, and just the chemistry between Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser in this film, you know, I think is so perfect, really, and this romance I absolutely loved, and it's something that I just root for every time seeing it throughout the film, and it adds so much to the narrative, and to, you know, the point later in the film, as we know, when Evelyn's taken by Imhotep and taken captive, and you know, for the final act really just before that, and it's something that exchange there between you know, Rick and Imhotep, and you know, you're saying, oh, I'll be seeing you, and it's something that adds so much weight to the film, and Imhotep as well, you know, of course, Arnold Vosloo playing Imhotep, and you know, he is just one of the greatest modern villains, really, for me, and I think he's just so perfect at times, the kind of silent role, but as well, obviously a lot of dialogue, and you know, just his way, you know, the villain, and the way in which An Ox on the Moon as well, you know, this whole kind of tragedy, really, you know, it's kind of left at first, and then it kind of comes back for the final act, where she's kind of resurrected partially, not fully, and you know, she's kind of this zombie-like, you know, mummy, and you know, the final act is something else, and the way she's kind of fighting, you know, Evelyn there, and Jonathan as well, and just all of the guards, you know, and the kind of all the kind of, yeah, the kind of mummies there that come back from the dead by Imhotep, of course, you know, the way he raises them, it's just epic stuff, and that final act is stuff of legends, and you know, I think this first kind of half of the film, though, is where we have the sense of wonder, and the adventure, and just the kind of way in which this whole journey starts, and you know, I think from when we get, you know, the kind of massive battle of Hamunaptra at first, through the library sequences where we meet the characters very gradually, all the way through the kind of camel race and the arriving at Hamunaptra, and you know, kind of digging there, and the rival kind of group of characters there, and they're all kind of trying to, you know, pursue this lost city, you know, I think all the way through to where the mummy is resurrected with the book, you know, I think this is something else. It's just classic cinema, and you know, I think the way you know, they do resurrect the mummy as well. We have, no, you know, you must not read from the book. That is such a great line, and just moment there, and it's so intense and just epic. And then all the locusts come, and obviously the plagues, you know, of Egypt come into the film at that point, and obviously the mummy is on the move, and just I think all of the interactions between the mummy and the different characters, Benny as well, who have that kind of really unique forming of that relationship. Again, Benny could just be a very kind of basic side character, but in this film, he's done so well, and he's one of the pivotal characters really, and he emerges as the kind of you could say the main villain in the sense of he is just so nasty. He just doesn't care about anyone, and he's kind of just doing it for kind of finding this treasure in a greedy way, and just trying to no matter what kind of get to this, and he kind of throws away everyone, his friends, obviously Rick, his past friend, he's already done that, and he betrays everyone. I think even more than Imhotep, he is kind of this the main villain in that sense, and it just he obviously gets a really brutal end, and kind of with the scarabs, we don't see that, it's kind of off screen, but the hordes, the waves of scarabs there at the end, it's just such a kind of disturbing moment. And of course the torch goes out there as well, and just epic stuff. Always as a kid as well, I got quite scared of when the kind of the walls and everything and the ceilings, kind of going down, and you nearly get squashed there, and it's really, really tense. And I think there's so many moments in this film where it's kind of touch and go, and the tension and the use of horror, as I say, is so well done, and it's just really non-stop. This film is just so immersive and so much fun. It's one of the most fun films I've seen in of the last kind of few decades. It is one of the most fun films, and it's one of my favourite films personally. It's on my list of favourites and of all time, and it's just something that I respond to so much. And it's got just every corner, kind of around every corner's got a sense of wonder and mystery, something new kind of being introduced, something that we've kind of had set up being progressed, and as well just a sense of dread and terror, but never kind of losing that sense of fun and charm and just excitement to this film. Is so entertaining from start to finish. I think especially that first hour and the final act of the film, it's just something else. I love the camel race as well, and just through all these sequences that are just so adventurous and epic, and different action sequences. All of the characters really kind of developing at that point as well, and there's always something going on with the character development. And Arnold in this film, he is a legendary character, really subtle, mysterious, and just the way he has an involvement from the start, but it's more he's in the background watching over, for example, Rick and the different characters when they're travelling, of course, across the desert, and I think the way and then he kind of organically comes into the plot more, and he's interacting with the characters. It's just epic. I think the way this is directed by Stephen Sommers and written by Stephen Sommers is something else, and just the restraint at first for different characters, like Arnold, the way he's at first, as I say, more of a background character, then he comes into it, and it's just when he does, it's so satisfying to see him interact. Obviously, at first a bit hostile because he wants to protect, stop things from getting out of hand with the mummy. Obviously, when the characters accidentally resurrect the mummy, that's when he kind of comes into the picture a bit more, and obviously he's way more involved in the plot and the action, teaming up with Jonathan and Rick, especially. This is priceless stuff, and I just love all these interactions. And Arnold is such a great character, and it's really cool at the end as well. We have that kind of nice kind of exchange there, and he kind of rides off mysteriously into the desert and leaves the characters, and just one of my favourite endings as well, to a film, a blockbuster like this. The ending is just, it's satisfying, it's kind of uplifting, of course, and you've got the tragedy before that, and the kind of the downfall, obviously, of Imhotep being brought back to the to the kind of underworld in that sense, and it's got some tragic elements. Even though Imhotep is a villain, there are some sad moments, and it's very complex, I think. And even though he's kind of this very obvious villain in the film, there's a lot of weight to him, and just and Lux on the Moon as well. It's this kind of romantic tragedy. So I think it's just the way it's done is so great, and I think, as I say, the way that the film ends with the various characters, Jonathan and Evelyn and Rick, the romance here is just so it's magical for me, and just love the way it ends, and the kind of the kiss there, and them riding off, and it's just one of my favourite endings, really. Obviously, the score itself by Jerry Goldsmith, has a bit of everything, in it. It has the horror, the dread, as I say, the mystery, this sense of foreboding and wonder, and the action, obviously. Within the action, it's just epic, kind of so uplifting, and I think the romance as well, and the more emotional parts of the score, just absolutely stunning. It all kind of makes for my personal favourite Jerry Goldsmith score that I've heard, and I think it just is, has everything, and as I say, it's so well done, it's so kind of perfectly realised, the score, and I think the way that it's kind of used throughout the film, and just all of the different moments, and the characters, and it's so tied to their kind of adventure, and it just has that spirit, that energy, but also the kind of more, as I say, emotional, kind of spiritual moments as well, and just the camel race, the caravan as well, Night Borders, and just Imhotep, and all the music around that, his theme in that sense, and just Rick and Evelyn as well, the way that that's kind of used. It's just, definitely my favourite score from Jerry Goldsmith, and one of the best really scores of all time, and the visuals throughout to this film, obviously I've praised the kind of effects, but just the way this is shot, the cinematography is absolutely stunning, and on location obviously, as well as CGI kind of usage there, and it's just something else. The shots of the desert, and when they're travelling, the editing to the film as well. You've got the kind of great use of editing with where they're travelling, and different moments passing over time, and at the same time the action, and the kind of the horror moments are all edited so well, and I just think when Imhotep as well, some of my favourite moments when Imhotep kind of does that kind of scream at Rick, and then Rick does one right back. His face there, of course, Brendan Fraser just perfects this, and just his reaction back to Imhotep, and then he shoots him with the gun there, and they run off. It's just so great, and as I say, the comedic side of Brendan Fraser is just perfect here, and I think just the way that kind of Rachel Weisz's character of Evelyn is kind of used, as this kind of sacrifice is attempted to be for Anck-su-namun to resurrect her. I think it's just so well done and so interesting, and I think the way they kind of react to this as well when they hear this, just all of the kind of exposition throughout, I think is just so great. Oded Fehr, in the film as well, his performance, as I say, is so great, and just all of the side characters are so memorable in this film. It is really, really brutal at times. There's some, even even though I'm not a kid, I do sometimes a bit grossed out by some of the moments in this, and it's really, really full on. But that is the film. They really go full on with the kind of horror, and the kind of just the way in which we have these disturbing moments, and things that happen to different characters. Obviously, the opening as well of the kind of the chest at one point with the spraying up on all those diggers there, and different moments throughout the film which we don't need to get into. It's just really, really gross, and very disturbing, and just really scary, and I just love the gradual kind of the interactions that happen with Imhotep and the group getting smaller and smaller, really, and really in the end going back to the originals with Evelyn, Rick, and Jonathan, but obviously Ardif as well joins the fray, and I think it's just so great how this adventure kind of plays out, and it's one of the most unforgettable kind of experiences in the adventure genre, all the way to the ending where we have that kind of epic conclusion of the kind of sand volcano in that sense, and then obviously Rick, Evelyn, and Jonathan riding off, and just Ardif as well, that final interaction. It's just so great, and it leaves that sense of mystery, and just really hopeful ending, full of magic, and that's the film. It is one of the most magical kind of adventure action films that I've seen, and it's definitely among my favourite films. I just love this so much, the way it's shot, the score to this, just the entire film is just so investing and fun, and I just love every scene really in this film. I think just the sense of mystery to this, and how we're learning more and more over the course of the film. It's just so interesting, this plot, and the way it kind of ties together this ancient backstory with Imhotep, and where it sets up the characters, all of the kind of moments at first, and the transformation of the characters. Evelyn becomes more confident over the film, and she's just so great of a character. Rachel Weisz, it's my favourite performance from her in both this and The Mummy Returns. I think she's just so great here, and I just love her so much in these films, and obviously John Hannah as well. He's so great, so likeable, and just a really funny performance from him, and just that a sense of that trio, of him, Evelyn, and obviously Rick O'Connell, so great, and just all the moments in the first act where they're kind of on the boat as well, kind of travelling with the other groups, and they get the attacks as well, all the kind of action there, and the shooting. It's just epic stuff, and there's not a moment really in this film that isn't just non-stop either learning something about this whole kind of plot, and the mummy itself, and just as well, action. It's just non-stop, but it's done in such a way, and it's just the flow of it. The editing, it's just stunning, and I think the performances and the characters, they're really just so full of weight and kind of depth for me, and I just love seeing every time the way they kind of meet and they kind of form these bonds, and it kind of culminates in the end, setting up a sequel obviously as well that did happen with Mummy Returns, and I cannot wait to talk about that film. But this one is so special. You've got the origins really of these characters, the meet-up, and just how obviously Evelyn and Rick met, and throughout this film it combines romance, which I absolutely love in the film, one of my favourites in a sense, and action, mystery, kind of dramatic moments, emotional moments, and just horror as well, and just this whole kind of unique blend that it has, I think is absolutely stunning, and it's something else, this film, and I do think it's just among the greatest kind of modern action films, and kind of the sense of wonder to this and charm. It's just it really is unbelievable, and it's a film that I love every act, every sequence really. It's just epic. It's charming. It's fun, hilarious at times, and I just love the characters and the way they kind of go on this journey, and just to kind of watch this film and to take part in this and to be up in the screen and to experience this. It's just such a great kind of thing to do, and because I just love this film so much. I really do, and I think every time I'm watching this film, I'm just in the film, just experiencing it, so immersed in this, and in the end it's really sad to leave this film. Excluding the credits, it is just under 2 hours, and I just wanted so much more every time, and it's a one that I absolutely love this one. It's great memories for me, nostalgic film, just for as long as I've been really watching, for example, back in the day, VHS tapes over and over, kind of putting them in myself to the kind of VHS player. This is one of those films that was one of the very early ones that I saw, so it's great memories for me, really nostalgic, all way back when I was like 5, 6, not just kind of 8 or 9 or 10, but way back, one of the kind of original times where I was watching VHS tapes, on my own at least and stuff, and it's just, for that as well, it's a really special film, but it's kind of a one that I've realised how much I love over the years as well, and how, I think it's just so great in the way it's made, just the kind of good old, classic feel it has, and also a really, a great sense of CGI in the film as well, the way it's used, incorporated, and the designs of all the creatures, and the mummy itself, the way his mouth stretches, and just Arnold Vosloo, he plays this so well, and it all adds up for just such a memorable kind of magical adventure action film. So overall my rating for this film is a 98%. So an extremely high score from me, and I have raised it since last time round. It's more of a realisation that I love it so much, and I just think this is such a great film. It's so magical, it's charming, it's got that level of comfort as well, and just even in the quieter scenes, it's not all just constantly action. You've got moments where character building and just mystery, and really kind of charming, peaceful moments at night time, for example, just nice subtle interactions with the characters, and I just think the entire film really is just so stunning, and I think my favourite kind of stretches are from the beginning until the kind of hour 5 mark, and then as well the final act especially, and the entire film though I absolutely love. All the chase sequences as well, in between the hour and the kind of hour and a half mark, where the characters getting chased through the streets, and some of the characters there getting picked off, and it's just epic. Obviously Imhotep's kind of when he uses all those people there, and they're kind of his servants, and they're kind of chasing all the characters through the streets, that was epic as well. But the final act once again is just truly legendary here, and I think just the way that it kind of comes to a close with Imhotep, Benny as well, great character, and great performance from Kevin J. O'Connor, and I think just the way in which we have that recurring kind of gag, if you will, and the kind of back and forth, that kind of quote, there, the catchphrase, "Goodbye, Benny." It's just so great. It's said a few times in the film, and then in the final moments where unfortunately Rick can't save Benny there, and even though Benny was the villain, it kind of it's quite gross there and quite sad, the way it kind of ends. But the way obviously Rick just can't quite save him through there, and they go off, and Benny's kind of demise there, and the way in which that ends, but also just Imhotep, that kind of grand finale there, the kind of epic fight between him and Rick O'Connell, and just unbelievable stuff there, and I just think yeah, that finale is just something else. It's stuff of legends. It's just unbelievably fun, this film, and yeah, that's that's kind of us wrapping up now. I think this film, I could talk about it for more, but it's just, we'll leave it to the kind of you viewers, and we can talk about this in the comments, obviously, and discuss our thoughts. So that was my thoughts. What do you think in that sense? It'd be great to hear. Let's discuss this film and celebrate this, and yeah, we'll be talking about The Mummy Returns. That'll probably be January time, definitely. I won't probably be able to get that before then, but it'll be watched towards the tail end of this month by me again. That's when I've got it kind of planned for, penciled in with my kind of whole month plan there in my diary, and yeah, with films, and so it'll be January that I kind of return with the Mummy reviews there for The Mummy Returns. Cannot wait to talk about that film. That's the one that I once again absolutely love, and I'll be reviewing that again on the channel. And until then, let's discuss this film in the comments and celebrate cinema. So yes, as always, take care and thanks for watching.